business trip.
Do the people move around?
It does tingle a little bit. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Matt with the DPI podcast. Over on the other screen over there is Peter with Princesses and the Mouse, Disney Travel. And it is top 3 night, and if you're normally here for top 3, we normally pick a chip out of this bag, but we're throwing the bag away today because we are going to do the top 3 differences between Walt Disney World and Disneyland. Can you tear yourself away from the Lorcana cards for 20 minutes?
Yeah. No, I'm here. I'm right here.
All right. You got 25 seconds or so.
Thinking about taking a trip to Disneyland, Disney World, maybe a Disney cruise, or one of the other amazing Disney destinations? Contact me at Princess of the Mouse, and I'd love to work with you on your itinerary to the most magical places in the world.
You can contact Princesses and the Mouse Disney Travel on Facebook at PATM Disney Travel. All right, we are going to be talking the top 3 differences between Disney World and Disneyland. My family and I just got back from our first Disneyland trip. Peter's been over there a couple of times. Peter, I'll go ahead and let you start because that will give you the first number 1. What is your number 3 difference between Disney World and Disneyland? Don't give it over to me. Go for it. Go.
You go ahead.
All right.
I'm good. I got lots of things I can say. You go for it.
I've got a lot of things I can say too. I'm going to say the number 3 thing is spacing. One thing that really surprised me in Disneyland was how tight everything is together. You come out of one ride and you're on top of the queue line for another ride, or you're in a restaurant, or you are somewhere when you come out of that ride. There are very few rides where you come out of it and you are not ready to go into the queue line for the next thing right there. And it's a space thing. I understand that. They have packed a lot into a little space, but in the amount of space between like the Jungle Cruise and Pirates of the Caribbean at Walt Disney World, Land has put 4 ride entrances in that space. I mean, you've got Tiki Room, Jungle Cruise, Pirates, Indiana Jones, all in that same space. So, yeah, it's really, really tight. But it's cool that way. That's it never bothered me, and we had talked about it a little bit earlier. With as much as at Disneyland, it really felt like people were in queue lines and in restaurants and doing other things and not walking between things, where it feels like at World everybody's between something because they're always in choke points and that kind of stuff. And other than a couple of times, we never felt like that at Land. So my number 3 is kind of the spacing of everything is very different. Peter, what is your number 3 difference between Walt Disney World and Disneyland?
See, I think I'm going to be talking about specific differences versus, so one of my like big differences, or one of my favorite things about Disneyland essentially is the way that I'm approaching this. So maybe we phrase this the wrong way, or like maybe I'm taking it the wrong way, but I really like. Okay, so the castle. Let's talk about the castle, right?
Okay.
The castle at Disneyland in California is one of, if not the smallest, but it's definitely down there in the bottom 3 in terms of the ones around the world. And so when you go in, the grandeur that's at Magic Kingdom is kind of dwarfed by that's the castle, because it's not very gaudy and epic and crazy exciting. It's barely taller than the top of the Main Street rooftops versus towering off in the distance like some regal, majestic thing the way that it is at Magic Kingdom. However, what I really enjoy about the Disneyland Castle is the fact that you can go in one side and it will begin telling the story of Sleeping Beauty. you can climb up these stairs and basically go from gallery to gallery to panorama to panorama to painting to figure, reading the story of Sleeping Beauty. And then ultimately, as you come down the other stairs, and now you have traversed the castle width, you kind of culminate the Sleeping Beauty story. And all of them are kind of written on, obviously it's wood, but they're designed to kind of look like scrolls. They have that really nice kind of animator writing that the Snow White and the Sleeping Beauty had back when those films were being animated. So just really, really kind of draws you into a story and really makes something that kind of loses the enthusiasm and excitement on outward appearance very, very unique and special on the inward appearance, because you just straight up don't have that at World. You have the tile mosaic in the walkthrough, but that's not nearly what this is. This is an attraction.
Yeah. Disneyland Paris has something very similar in their walk up. So you walk up to the top of their castle, and they've got the same type of thing where it's the story of Sleeping Beauty, and then Paris takes it one step further, and they have the dragon in the basement. So really cool there. Let's go get to our number twos. My number two difference between Disneyland and Disney World is, there's a lot. I'm going to go with the monorail. The monorail is an interesting one because at Disney World, it is very much a mode of transportation. And that's all it's really there for, is to get people from the Ticket and Transportation Center to the park, to get people from the resort loop hotels around that loop to the park, to the TTA, that kind of stuff, and then to get over to Epcot and back. It's a mode of transportation. At land, it is an attraction, and very much an attraction. The monorails are A, much nicer looking. B, they're shorter. So duck when you go in and out of them, like I didn't do coming out, and just whacked my head. But Disneyland's monorail has two stops. There's one inside their Magic Kingdom park, and there's one in their downtown Disney district, which basically is right outside the Disneyland Hotel. So that is a way for people from Disneyland Hotel to get into the park faster, is to jump on the monorail there. You actually have to scan in with your ticket and everything before you get on the monorail at downtown Disney. And then you can ride it into the Magic Kingdom Park. But it winds through the Magic Kingdom Park. It comes across the front of the main entrance. It goes out down Harbor Boulevard, and then works its way to downtown Disney. Really, really cool. Really cool difference that you can get on it in the park, and it never had a wait time. It was rarely used other than what felt like at opening and closing, and that was it. So yeah, that is my number two difference. Peter, what is your number two difference between the two?
Yeah. Your number two difference is really good, and it kind of ties in to mine. And so we already kind of mentioned it earlier in the show when we were just kind of doing Matt's trip recap, but the sheer lack of hotels, right?
Yeah.
Disneyland, 3 hotels and only 3 hotels. They have Pixar Pier, which was Paradise Pier that they've then thrown some more IP into, Disneyland Hotel, and Disney's Grand Californian. And so at World, you have, if you count all the resorts and villas, over 25 different, like if you count Polynesian versus Polynesian villas as separate things, which Disney does, you have over 25 resorts. You have multiple value, multiple intermediate, multiple deluxe, villa stays, standard deluxe, all of these different types of things. The values even have suites in 2 of them at Disney World.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas here in Disneyland, you straight up have a value, an intermediate, and a deluxe. And what's kind of...
They're all deluxe pricing, though. Hold on, I have no mic on you. Did you hit your mic? I have no mic.
You have no mic.
Yes, I got you now.
I'm back?
You're back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the value resort is high-level moderate pricing. The moderate resort is low to mid-level deluxe pricing, and the deluxe resort rivals the highest that you will find at Disney World. Now, as a result, the reason those prices are so high is because the capacity is so low. So you've really got to branch out and look at all of those neighbor hotels, because if you want those value prices, well, you can go do that by staying at like the Sonesta that's just around the corner. If you want the intermediate price, then go down to the Hilton or the Marriott just down the road. There's lots of things. However, the one pro where Disneyland hotels actually beats Disney World hotels, in my opinion, is the simple fact that Grand Californian is so integral into the whole thing. Like, you literally walk out of Grand Californian and you walk in to California Adventure, kind of in the Soarin', Grizzly Bear Run area, and you then walk out the other side of Grand Californian and you're dead in the heart of Disney, of downtown Disney. And it is just so cool. When I was there last time, I left California Adventure, swung into the pool bar area, had a drink, left there, and went over to Disney Springs for a little bit, and then continued on to the Trader Sam's Grog Grotto. And it was like, all of it was just so unique that, Matt and I have talked about this previously in our top 3, like top 3 things I would do if I was in charge of Disney World for a day. Matt and I were all on board with, across that Epcot entrance, give me a deluxe resort built into that monorail. Mm-hmm. Like that big ass monorail station, you can literally build a resort around that so that the traffic and the buses still flow underneath and around that hotel. But then that hotel has a get on the monorail to head to Magic Kingdom, or come downstairs and go through a private entrance into Epcot.
Yeah.
Like, there is nothing like that at Disney World at all. And you could be like, oh, Contemporary's right there, and the monorail's going the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's still a quarter to a half mile walk from the Contemporary to...
This is straight up walk out of the Grand Californian and you're at the security checkpoint, and you could be standing in line for Soarin' 3 minutes later.
Yeah, it is. It is seriously. So we ate at Storytellers, one of our meals, and we came out of Storytellers. You go to the left, you go into the next building, and you go straight through the next building, and that's the entrance to California Adventure.
Yeah, it's so unique. And for that reason right there, when I go with my family, we'll be doing a suite at Grand California, because I want to stay there. I want to be part of it. I want it to just feel like, wow, I am immersed. No bus travel, no nothing. It is just, I am here and I am staying, and this is a great time. So, I think next spring break we are planning that for Grand California. Oh, no, sorry. Next spring break's the cruise. Next fall break is Grand Californian.
Awesome. Yeah. You'll have fun. When we walked into Grand Californian, it was like Wilderness Lodge. It was like Great Wolf Lodge. I mean, it's
like Wilderness Lodge mixed with Grand Floridian. You've got the high level finishings, but you have the rustic nature feel all at the same time. Very impressive.
Yeah, it really, really cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and let's get into our number ones.
Yeah, I hit the hotels so that way you could take whatever you wanted with your number one.
Yeah, so hotels are a great one. With my number one, before I get to that, if you have a better top three than ours, put it in the comments below. Let us know over on the Facebook page at PATM Disney Travel, or go over to the website patmdisneytravel.wixsite.com/planning and let us know what your top three is. My number one, it's got to be the availability of characters. I think when I look back at the trip, it is the one thing that stands out that we took pictures with characters everywhere. Everywhere we were. You know, in California Adventure, there are characters in Avengers Campus. There are characters in Cars Land. They rotate McQueen and Mater out on the road, and then they have their own character meet and greet spot.
Oh my God, I love that. That is so cool.
Yeah.
That is so amazing how Lightning is there interacting with people, and then he drives away.
Yeah.
Imagine being an 8-year-old kid and witnessing this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you straight up think Lightning McQueen is a real flippin' thing.
Yeah, same thing with Mater. I mean, they do it with Mater too. Mater's got the same interaction and all that kind of stuff. So
that is so unique, so remarkable what they've done in that Cars Land area.
And then, like I said, Avengers Campus. We're walking through Avengers Campus. Black Panther. My son had a Spider-Man hoodie, and he comes over. He goes, "Hey, Spider-Man, take a walk with me." And they walk across over to the Mission Breakout sign, and they do posing in front of the Mission Breakout sign. The Spider-Man thing across the top of Web Slingers. They do the animatronic that does the flips, and then Spider-Man comes out the other side, the character, and he rappels down the side of the building and then comes down into the crowd and says, "Okay, we're going to meet over here," and just starts meeting people after that happens. So it's like they integrate all these things really, really well. We were talking a little bit earlier in their town square area at Land. We came out of a store and there were 7 characters meeting. All 5 of the Fab Five, a princess and Cruella de Vil, were all meeting in the town square area. So you had little lines of like 10 people at these characters. And what's neat is they don't necessarily have a handler with them or directly with them, let's say that. There might be a handler for like 3 or 4 characters that just has a button that says, "Ask me about characters." And then you go and you talk to them and they'll say, "Oh yeah, this character is going to be in this area around this time," and that kind of stuff. You know, with the Lorcana stuff, I actually got a couple of cards signed by characters. And I think it's something that I'm going to continue to do as we go back to the parks, because they were really neat interactions.
That's what I used to do with my Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom cards.
Yeah. So my number one, and if you're on the fence about going to Land but you're a character fan, number one reason to go for me was the amount of characters. I mean, we could go back and we could meet characters for 2 or 3 days and really not have to double up any of the characters that we saw while we were there.
And what's really neat about it is because, like we've talked about before, World is probably about 80% out of town and 20% local. This is the flip. And so all of these characters are so readily accessible because a lot of the people in the park are like, "I'm not going to meet characters. I'm just here to go ride the Matterhorn and have a churro. And then I'm going to go home." Yeah.
All right, Peter, before we get to your number one, people that are going to be booking their Disneyland trips now, how do they do it with you?
Find me on Facebook, Princess of the Mouse Disney Travel. Love to talk to you. Fall is filling up, so come get your spot in my docket, because fall is filling up because I have a 21-person trip to manage. Yeah, that one's gonna be fun. 8 reservations, 21 people. Woo! It's gonna challenge all my cunning to figure out how to get them dining reservations. So, looking forward to it. But without further ado, my number one. It's going to be vague, but I will explain. My number one is what I have really loved about my time out in Disneyland is I love that I can still hold true to the classics, but I can also see the finer embellishments. Let me explain. Okay? This is going to be a very, very grandiose thing. I love that I can still go ride Wild Toad's Wild Ride, or Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. I love the Snow White. I love the Alice in Wonderland. I love that I can still go on the Leagues to the Sea, right, with a little Finding Nemo flair. I love all the nostalgic things that are there. But I really love the high-end embellishments. So I think about Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. Mm-hmm. Similar ride, way different experience at land. And it's because they've done more with the scenery and the theming and the experience. Haunted Mansion, great ride at both places. But in land, I am drawn into the story long before I get on the Doom Buggy. At Pirates, fantastic, but I understand why I'm transported into a fantasy world. I was originally in the Louisiana Bayou.
Yeah, because you come out of New Orleans Square to get on the ride,
and now all of a sudden I slipped down this magical portal, and now all of a sudden I've been transported into this old Caribbean pirates theme, right? Just the Indiana Jones queue line, I mean, is just ridiculous. Just ridiculous, right? I think about the similar things, right? You go to World and you go on Dinosaur, and that's the Indiana Jones ride at land. And Indiana Jones destroys Dinosaur in theming and experience.
It's not even close.
So you go to Test Track and you go to Radiator Springs Racers. Test Track is good. Radiator Springs pantses it and takes its lunch money. I can see the argument for Tower of Terror deserves its nostalgic appeal, and Mission Breakout is fun. So I'm not going to touch those. I love that they didn't. I love that they left one the same business as usual, and one did something new with it. But there's a lot more of the story, whereas at World you wait in line and then you get the story, whereas at land the story comes to you. And part of that is absolutely because this was Walt's true pet, right? Florida was Walt's dream, but land was Walt's creation.
Yeah,
he had his hands in the designing and the creating. He curated the original park experience. And because of that, there are stories of him traveling all over the world to find macabre things to put into the Haunted Mansion, right? You can feel that. You can feel that World was created with inspiration of Walt. You can feel that land was created by Walt.
Yeah.
His whimsy, his child love, his desire to bring memories to the family just exudes through the land experience a lot more than World. So I can live the nostalgia, but the embellishments to tell the story even better exist at land in many ways that they don't necessarily exist at World, in my opinion. And just simply the fact that it's all right there, it's all contained. I don't have to spend an hour traveling. I don't have to get on this packed bus with this whiny kid that's complaining about the fact that their dad didn't get them a churro.
There were no churro-less kids in my family.
No,
That
not
is-
your family. Other
That is
families.
for damn sure. No, I 100% get that. You know, one thing I went into this trip with was the understanding of the history. And if you're a Disney fan and haven't been to Disney World or Disneyland, it's an experience, and it was fun to walk up to that gate and to see the train come up into that station and to walk around the corner and see that castle and just know that that was the park that Walt built. And it's a lot of things like that that really kind of set it apart. Like you said, you know, the theming outside of the rides to get into the ride. Pirates is such a great example. You're set in New Orleans Square. Hell, half the time, Jack Sparrow's up on that balcony talking to people as they're in that line. And you walk in, you hear the New Orleans Jazz Band playing around the corner, and everything just makes sense as you're walking into that lagoon area. And then you get on the ride, and the ride continues the story that you're already in. So, yeah. Toontown, another great example. Their newest area.
Yeah.
Hell, the sky was the same color as the backdrop. You couldn't tell where the backdrop ended and the sky started when we were back there in the morning. It was crazy. Shannon's got pictures and you can't see the top of the backdrop. It fades into the sky so well. So you feel like you're in a bubble in that area. And it's all that same Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway kind of art style out in this Toontown area. And it's great. So, yeah, just fantastic stuff.
Yeah. I told myself I was comparing too much, and then I said, you know what? Let me stop comparing. I'm going to enjoy World when I enjoy World. I'm going to enjoy Land when I enjoy Land. But like we kind of said earlier, there are definitely reasons to want to do both and to make sure that both become a staple in your Disney travel experience.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. Well, great top three,
I gotta
man.
be somewhere at 8:15. What else we got?
What else we got? Well, I was just gonna say it was a great top three. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the outro, but before I hit the outro, make sure you go over to the YouTube channel, check out new content that we've got up. So World of Color 1, hands down, and you can argue with me on this one, hands down the best night show that Disney's ever done. And Mickey's Mixed Magic is hands down probably the worst. And we saw both. But they're both going to be up on the channel. World of Color 1's already up on the channel. Mickey's Mixed Magic hits the channel tomorrow, Wednesday the 20th. I'm working on the Magic Happens Parade. Magic Happens Parade, again, probably one of the best parades Disney's ever done. Yeah, but Mickey's Mixed Magic, Braden loved it. He loved the music. It's that Mickey short animation style that he loves. It was 100% right up his alley. When you watch the fireworks, all the fireworks are to the left of the castle. Just pro tip. Everything's to the left.
Yeah, when I was there, I actually watched it from the right, so it was actually pretty good.
Yeah, we were on the left-hand side, so all the fireworks are behind the tree.
No, I was way over to the far right, and so it was all just right above the castle. It was pretty nice.
But they do put projections on the Matterhorn up and down Main Street on Small World, so lots of different areas to check that out for Mickey's Mixed Magic. But yeah, no, great trip. We'll continue the conversation in the next few weeks. Peter, thanks a lot for joining us tonight, and we will talk to you guys next week. Bye now. Hey, thanks for checking us out today. Don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons to help out the channel. Also, if you're looking for some more Disney content, check this out. I think you're going to like it.